Chris Bryant is joining us now. Hello to you, Mr. Bryant. Thanks for joining us on the programme. You're incensed?
Well, I'm not sure that incensed is quite the right word. I'm appalled by what Crispin has done. I think it's particularly inappropriate on a day when the Home Affairs Committee has produced a report on how terribly difficult it is to get any rape convictions through the courts, and so many victims not getting justice, that then a Conservative MP, when another Conservative MP is found guilty by a jury in a court of law, decides to condemn the verdict and condemn the whole process. As I understand it, Crispin himself admits that he wasn't there for the whole trial. He was only there for the defence. He didn't hear the prosecution. He didn't listen to the victim and the victim's family. So I just think it's completely inappropriate. Crispin chairs one of the all-party parliamentary groups, which I and others are members of, which look at LGBT issues around the world. And I think he will have to resign from that. I think he should have the whip withdrawn. And to be honest, I think Mr. Khan should be stepping aside. Of course, he has a right to an appeal, and we'll see how that goes. But it's completely inappropriate for a member of parliament to start attacking the judicial process like this.
Are you asking Crispin Blunt to step aside, and are you suggesting to the government that they should remove the whip, which, for the benefit of our viewers, means that he can't sit as a Conservative in the House of Commons, at least for now?
I think Crispin should have the whip withdrawn from him, yes, because I think this is a completely inappropriate way of proceeding. We've seen this before, unfortunately. If you remember the Charlie Elphicke case, a whole series of Conservative MPs, even once he'd been convicted, decided to sort of weigh in on his behalf. And that was another sort of similar case. Here you've got a Conservative MP who's been found guilty. Last year we had Owen Paterson, who was found guilty by the committee that I chair, of having peddled influence for paying clients around Parliament, and the government and the Conservative Party threw everything they had at trying to defend their own. I just think it's a completely inappropriate way of behaving. We quite rightly in the UK have a separation between the legislature, which writes the laws, and the courts, which interprets the laws in specific circumstances. And so I think Crispin should have the whip withdrawn. I think Mr. Khan should be resigning his seat. Of course, he has a right to an appeal. It's not for me to judge whether the court case was right or wrong. A jury listened to the evidence, a judge summed up, and it came to a conclusion.
If we believe that the tweet from Mr. Blunt has been deleted, if he retracts the comment, is that a line drawn under the matter and we can all move on?
No, I don't think it is, I'm afraid. Of course, it's great when people apologise fulsomely and say, I'm really sorry, I got this completely wrong. But I think the Conservative Party needs to do a proper investigation into what on earth Crispin thought he was doing. It undermines Parliament. It brings Parliament into disrepute when a lawmaker decides that that a court of law has behaved completely inappropriately in a specific case when even the appeal process hasn't been gone through. I think, as I say, Crispin, first of all, should stand aside from chairing the all-party parliamentary groups on LGBT issues around the world. And that's a shame in a way, because Crispin has done lots of really good work there. But I think he needs to step aside from that. We should be electing a new chair, I think. And the Conservative Party should be investigating why on earth Crispin came to this situation. Now, I don't understand why the Conservative Party wasn't straight out of the door last night, first of all saying that Mr. Khan should step aside from his seat, and secondly, that Crispin should be withdrawing his comments immediately.
Although, of course, Labour MP Claudia Webb, when she was recently convicted in a court of law, she said that she was facing a custodial sentence, but said that she would stay in place while she prepared her appeal.
Yes, I think that the same should apply across the board, to be honest. You have a right to appeal, of course, and it's a great shame that some of these appeals are taking much longer than they should have done. All of this in relation to Claudia Webb should have been dealt with a long time ago. She has a right to appeal, Mr. Khan has a right to appeal, and no doubt they will both exhaust that process. Personally, I think that in an instance such as that, in an instance such as both of these, people should be stepping aside.
OK. Thank you for joining us, Chris Bryant.